Hello friends, welcome to the new session of this unit, that is magnetic properties of material, and today we will discuss the remaining part of this unit. Up to the last session we have discussed about the factors affecting the hysteresis loss. Okay, once again we have to be review this part. There are so many factors which are directly affect on the hysteresis. The parameters of that type of factors are generally the frequency of magnetization, volume of a material, area enclosed by the hysteresis loop, physical condition and purity of material, cold work and heating of the sample, and the last one it is type of impurity. These factors we will discuss in detail. The first one is nothing but the frequency. The frequency here corresponds to the number of cycles of magnetization per second. The hysteresis loss is directly proportional to the frequency. As frequency goes on increasing level, then the hysteresis loss also goes to the higher level, and due to that it directly affects the hysteresis loss. The second parameter is nothing but the volume of a material. Now this parameter, the hysteresis loss is proportional to the volume of the material. In fact, the hysteresis loss per unit volume in one cycle is equal to the area under the hysteresis loop, which will be defined with the help of equation. The hysteresis loss per volume is equal to the area under hysteresis loop. The hysteresis loss is proportional to the volume of material. If the volume of the material should be goes on increasing level, then the hysteresis loss performed by that material should be increased. The third parameter is nothing but the area of that hysteresis loop. Now, the hysteresis loss is directly proportional to the area under the hysteresis loop. For the low loss materials, the hysteresis loop is narrow. The hysteresis loss depends upon the physical condition and the chemical purity of the material. Also, the hysteresis loss increases due to the cold work performed on the ferromagnetic substance. The substance whose hysteresis loss has increased due to cold work can be heated up to restore its magnetic properties again. So, the area of that particular material is directly proportional to the hysteresis loss. For the lower area or the physical condition of that particular area is lower one, then the hysteresis loop or the hysteresis loss is also a narrow. Also, the hysteresis loss is again depends upon the physical condition as well as the chemical purity of the material. If the impurity added to the material, then the hysteresis loss also affects that one. The next parameter is nothing but when we have to be perform the cold work to any magnetic material, specifically for ferromagnetic substance, then the hysteresis loss of that material should be increased. So these are some factors which are generally affects the hysteresis loss. The lowest value of hysteresis loss obtainable for a material is limited by the impurity contents of the substance. Typically, the impurities are carbon, sulfur, oxygen and nitrogen, out of which the carbon has the worst effect on hysteresis loss. So the amount of carbon is kept as low as possible. That means it should be kept 0.01% for the impurity materials. So these are some factors which are affects the hysteresis loss. Then we have switched over to the new concept, that is nothing but the magnetic materials. Now, how many magnetic materials are to be there and what are their own properties? We have to be studied in this session. Specifically, we are going to discuss about the two important magnetic materials. In that one, the first one, that is nothing but iron and silicon alloys, and the second one, that is nickel and iron alloys. The first one, that is nothing but iron and silicon alloy. The magnetic properties of iron can be greatly improved by adding 0.3 to 4.5% of silicon by weight to it. Some of the important characteristics or features of the silicon iron alloy are as follows. For the magnetic material, we are doing the alloys of two materials, that is nothing but the iron material and the silicon material, and because of that we have to be getted the important characteristics or features in that material. No doubt the adding of that material, it should be depends upon weight, and the percentage of that adding is nothing but 0.3 to 4.5% as per application. Some important features of that alloy type is nothing but the silicon increases resistivity and decreases the ED current losses. This type of alloy, it should be increases the resistivity of material and decreases the ED current losses. The second one is that due to addition of silicon, the hysteresis loss also decreases. As per adding the silicon in the iron material, the hysteresis loss also goes on decreasing level. With increase in silicon percentage, the saturation magnetism decreases, but the permeability below the knee point, it should be increases. And the last feature is that the highest percentage of silicon is limited to only 4.5% because still percentage of silicon makes the alloy brittle. Okay, no doubt when we can add the silicon to the iron material, hysteresis loss goes to the decreasing level. But if we add the maximum amount of silicon in that iron material, then the alloy becomes brittle. Okay, it should be loses its strength. So these are some features regarding with the first material, that is iron and silicon alloy. The application of such type of alloys are the silicon iron alloy with 0.5% silicon are used for the cores of small electric motors. This type of materials is used for the cores of small electric motors. And the second one is that the silicon iron alloy with high percentage of silicon is used for large turbo generators. It should be used for a large turbo generators. The next type of magnetic materials is nothing but the second alloy type, that is nothing but nickel iron alloy. Now in this type of alloy, The high percentage of nickel, that is 40 to 90%, with an appropriate heat treatment, is added with iron, which possesses the following characteristics. The first one, because of that high percentage of nickel, the alloy becomes high permeability at low flux densities. And the second characteristics is nothing but it have a lower losses than those in iron. Okay, because of including the high percentage of nickel, that is nothing but 40 to 90% of nickel we have to be added in the iron, and because of that we can get the two important characteristics, that is nothing but the high permeability and the second one, that is lower losses. Now there are two types of nickel iron alloys are given below. The first one, that is nothing but the permalloy, and the second one, that is nothing but the mumetal. Now the important features of mumetal are its lower permeability, high electric resistance, and low eddy current losses. Now according to the various proportionalities, we have to be made the two sub classification, that is nothing but permalloy and the mumetal. Now the magnetic properties of nickel iron alloy can be improved by addition of small amounts of other elements. For example, if cobalt is added to the nickel iron alloy, then the hysteresis is reduced. Addition of manganese reduces the coercivity, whereas the addition of molybdenum increases the initial permeability and reduces the iron losses. Because of adding the additional parameter in the nickel iron alloy, we can get the various properties. For example, if cobalt is added, we get the hysteresis is reduced. If manganese is added, then we can get the reducing coercivity effect. And when molybdenum is to be added, then we can get the high initial permeability and reduced iron losses. So the next parameter is nothing but the saturation flux density of nickel iron alloy is low. Now these alloys exhibit ferromagnetic properties above the Curie temperature, and an important feature of these materials is its rectangle shaped hysteresis loop. It should be indicates the rectangle type of hysteresis loop. The applications of this second type, that is nickel and iron alloy, are nothing but the nickel iron alloys are widely used for transformer cores. Second one, loading coils for telephone circuits. Third one, instrumentation transformers. Fourth one, that is nothing but the measuring instruments. Fifth one, magnetic screens of electronic instruments. And the last one, that is nothing but the magnetic amplifiers. So these are some applications which are generally used for the nickel iron alloy in the various applications. The next concept is nothing but the antiferromagnetic materials. Now the antiferromagnetic material, the antiferromagnetism is defined as the phenomenon of neighboring moments aligning themselves in the antiparallel structure. In that one, some of the antiparallel materials are the manganese, ferrous, chromium, and nickel oxide. The antiferromagnetism takes place below a certain temperature called as Néel temperature, which should be represented by Tn. The Néel temperature is different from the Curie temperature. For antimagnetic materials, the relation between magnetic susceptibility X and Curie temperature is, we have discussed this formula already, that is nothing but X is equal to C upon T plus Tc. Now, the values of Tn and Tc are generally between 1.5 and 5. The susceptibility of antiferromagnetic material is very low. Therefore, this phenomenon does not have much practical importance. The next one, that is nothing but the ferrimagnetism. The ferrites, the first one, we have already defined the ferrimagnetism. A group of magnetic alloys called as ferrites exhibit the property of magnetization, which depends upon the percentage of different constituent atoms in the alloy. A typical example of ferrites is XOFe2O3, where X can be any one of the material like Mn, Cu, Ni, Cu, Zn, Cd, etc. That is nothing but manganese, cobalt, nickel, zinc, cadmium, etc. And for example, MnOFe2O3 is a manganese ferrite which is obtained by the mixing of manganese oxide MnO and iron oxide Fe2O3. Some important features of these ferrites are as follows. The first one is nothing but the ferrites are used at high frequencies. The ferrites are used at high frequencies as compared to other magnetic materials. The second one, they are used in computers and microwave applications. The third one, the ferrite core are laminated in order to reduce eddy current losses. The fourth one is that duct cores made from the fine particles of the ferrites are properly used for high frequency applications. The fifth one, the magnetic behavior of ferrite material is similar to that of iron and nickel. Sixth one, they have the large magnetic susceptibility. Then these materials have a higher resistivity as compared to the ferromagnetic material. Next one, under the influence of magnetizing forces, the behavior of ferrites is the same as that of the ferromagnetic material. Now, ferrites are extremely hard and brittle materials which cannot be operated upon by the simple matching process. The current conductivity of ferrites is less than that of iron. These materials should be subjected to tension because they have lower tensile strength than that of a mat. And the last one, that is the magnetic performance of these materials gets seriously affected as the operating temperature reaches close to the Curie point. So these are some important features or characteristics of ferromagnetic material. So at the end of this slide, we have completed the unit number 3. If you have any questions regarding with that unit, you have to be just asked to me. The remaining part of that unit, that is nothing but the notes, PPT, and the assignment questions, will be discussed earlier to the next session. Okay, thank you.